digital radio, on the app, on your smart machine, on X, YouTube, and Facebook. The Sports Cast. Expect the unexpected.
We don't have music anymore.
The Donut Bag presented by the Sports Cast.
The Donut Bag, hosted by Joey Bag of Donuts. And here's your host, Joey Bag of Donuts.
That intro is like you have a marching band.
Oh no,
That's
Joe got
the Donut
booted.
Bag Orchestra. Did I get booted?
No, you were a little muted.
Yeah.
You're good
I
now.
was muted. Okay. We are live,
now.
apparently. What a start. We are a well-oiled machine here. I don't even, gosh. Yeah, that really got me going. Let's call them the Donut Bag Orchestra with the marching band thing. Anyway, welcome to the Donut Bag Podcast, part of the Sportscast Network. If you want to join in the conversation, have a little scrolly thing there. Just go to youtube.com/@JoeyBagOfDonuts. So there are a few traditions on this podcast. One of them is one that LeeAnn is always a part of, where we make our predictions on the season, and we're always horribly wrong and horribly optimistic.
Right now?
But
You're not springing that on me now, are you?
No. That is not that.
But you
other
gotta wait till training camp to get over, so we know if anyone got cut or injured. Not
Joe doesn't
other team.
care.
Other
He
team.
doesn't
Yeah.
care.
It's way too
It's
soon
gonna
for
be
that.
way too early.
But another tradition is we do right before training camp. We try to guess what the biggest stories of training camp are going to be, or what we're most looking forward to, or what we're most looking to. And we kind of do it in Family Feud fashion. Now, I've identified 5 things, but before we get to that, we have a couple pieces of business. One of them is, boy, everything is slow and crappy on my end. Oh, well. There we go. One of them is, and this is to me a surprise, TJ Watt got signed. Was this a surprise to you guys, or
Is it surprising to
did
you
you
that
expect it to be done by now? That it happened so early? I thought it would be I thought it would go into like August or September or something like that.
I did too, but I saw that Mike Tomlin said he wanted it done before camp this year. You know, I saw that like Depot had tweeted that out, that he wanted it done early. He didn't want the distraction and the noise. I have to think too that like a little bit money, right, as a factor. You got Micah Parsons still hanging out there. You got Trey Hendrickson still hanging out there, banging their sticks on the ground that they want to be the highest paid defensive player in the league. And so, if you wait any longer on Watt like they did last time, then you got to factor in whatever that extra amount is. Those two get paid. You're paying them. Get it over with.
Yeah, and especially since you have a cowboy out there, so you have crazy Jerry Jones, who literally will do crazy, stupid stuff contract-wise. So you don't know, we're going to give him 5 years. We're going to guarantee the whole thing. And then all of a sudden, TJ's like, so he got 5-year guarantee. I want 5-year guarantee. And it's like, no, that's not good for the Steelers. So yeah, getting it done. Like I said, I'm still shocked it was done now, because TJ could have literally said, I want to wait to get more money. But I hate to be that person, but whether you're getting 41 average a year, 42 million a year, 43, does it really matter at this point? Other than bragging rights for the next 3 weeks while you're the highest paid non-QB until someone else gets it?
The guy who's the pastor for the Steelers, Pastor Rung, tweeted out that however you feel about TJ's contract, somebody else is going to exceed this really quickly, right? Like he's not going to stay the highest paid player for long. He didn't last time. He won't this time, right? That stuff doesn't last. It's more about like, to me, it feels more like a respect thing. Like, you've got Myles Garrett got paid this. You got Max Crosby that got paid this. Right. And here I am right in the thick of things with these guys. And you need to show me the love. But I kind of wonder if, there was rumors last time that TJ was done with the negotiations, done with the bickering back and forth, and went ahead last time and just closed that contract. So I wonder if this time, we just said, like, I don't want all this drama. I don't want all this chaos. Like, look, I'm happy enough with this deal. Let's just get it done. Maybe he wasn't being so greedy, and maybe the Steelers recognized his worth and it just made it happen faster.
I think that's exactly what happened. I think that's what happened both times. The previous time, now it did go until, late August, early September or something like that. But I think at some point at that time, TJ just said, okay, enough of this. Let's just, okay, whatever your offer is, just take it. Even though maybe his agent was like, no, let's keep going. I think that might have happened this time. And I think this time, because, we got reports that, oh my God, he's so mad. Did you see that Instagram post? He put the peace sign. Oh my goodness. Oh my God, that's a declaration of war, and it seemed that it was going to be nasty or whatever. He didn't show up to mini camp, and it's like, oh my goodness, what? And then all of a sudden, the good signs, because I think you're right, LeeAnn. I think he just said, enough of this. The offer is good enough. Whatever. I think his main thing was, I want more than Myles Garrett, and that's it. I got more than Myles Garrett. Yeah. Okay, we're good. Just make the numbers work so I have more than that dude. Whatever happens.
And the fact in the next 3 years, he's making almost as much as his big brother did in an entire 12-year career.
Yeah.
Crazy.
That just really shows like the phenomenal level at which, like, the rapid rate in which players' salaries have increased over the past decade. I mean, it's just like absolutely sky high. We were talking about it my show right before this, that like in the 70s, guys had to work second jobs, and now TJ's kids won't even ever have to work. You know what I mean? If they don't want to. Like, it's unbelievable.
People are saying, well, they should have traded him, or how can you pay someone this much, or he's making way too much. Really, he's not, because you don't look at it in terms of dollars. You look at it in terms of the percentage of the salary cap, and really, then what he's making now and what his contract is actually less of a percentage of the salary cap than it was his previous time. I think it's like around 10% or something like that. So it's crazy. Yeah, the salary cap has skyrocketed in the last few years, and that's just the going rate. And we're only doing this because we don't have a quarterback. Because, and then when we get a quarterback, we're going to have a quarterback on a rookie deal that's going to be making peanuts. That's why we can afford a TJ Watt and stuff. So, they should have traded him. Like, come on. That was never.
Yeah, especially if you look at when TJ has not played, the Steelers are 1-10.
Yeah.
He is the MVP. I mean, you're not there. The team loses. That is the MVP in my mind.
That's the definition of valuable player.
I mean, he is our quarterback. He is our Joe Burrow.
Yeah, he is the most important person. Now, you hope in the next 3 years they either distribute that, not necessarily his position, but that this is the most important person on the team, as he's in his 30s, which I know he's young enough to be my kid. But for football, you got to start thinking, okay, we need now the next indispensable person. So we're not like the Steelers were for a while. Oh, we held on too long and we didn't prepare. And honestly, I'll blame the previous Steelers administration. When Ben was getting up there in age, you didn't prepare thinking, okay, Ben's maybe got 3 years left. do we want to prepare life beyond Ben? But they were like, no, we can't do that because we'll make Ben mad and angry if he thinks we're going to get a replacement. So, look how Ben reacted when Mason Rudolph came in.
Right.
It's like, no, dude, you're getting up there in age for a quarterback. In fact, you're old for a quarterback. Most quarterbacks don't last as long as you, especially the way you're playing. So, yeah, it would make sense. That's why we were left, literally when Ben retired, we're like, oh, we need to find another quarterback. Well, we know Kenny Pickett. He played in the same building. Let's pick him in the first round. And we saw how that turned out. Then we had 3 years of trying to, guess he really wasn't the quarterback of the future or even good enough, as we're seeing in Cleveland, because if he was good enough, he'd be starting in Cleveland right now. And
no, Joe Flacco's like 57 is going to start instead, which is wacky. It's absolutely, that's the wackiest situation ever. Look, to all these people who keep talking about like you should trade TJ, there's just such a group of our fan base that's like so bitter and they just want to be angry about everything and they're just never happy. And so I keep saying to them, well, make it make sense to me because look, I'm going to save receipts. You're saying we should have traded TJ and he's old and he's not worth it and all of these things, right? But then you're also going to talk about how we're going to get like 6 first-round draft picks out of some team for him. But then also talk about how the Steelers don't know how to draft anybody in the first round. Like, make it make sense. Like, none of this makes sense. You can't have like all of this can't be true, right? And you just have to look at like the impact that somebody like Watt. It's the reason I advocated so hard for Cam Hayward last season when he was up for his contract signing, because you look at the impact a player like that has on the team, and it's much more than just stat sheets and all of those things. I think it's bigger than that with guys like Watt, with Cam Hayward, and I think that's the case. I think you bring up some really good points about Watt and the reasons why we were able to do this contract right now. Do you know what I mean? Not having the big quarterback contract, but you have to, I think fans look at like in this little bubble of like, well, here's TJ's stats from 2024 and he was hurt and that's a sign you're old and all of these things. And then think that we shouldn't be paying him. But they totally missed the boat that this is the league. Like, this is what's happening in the league. Like, we're not doing anything unusual. We're not Jerry Jones out signing some wacky contract that makes no sense to a player that doesn't deserve it, or like the Washington Commanders have done in the past. We're not doing that. We're right in line with what's the norm in the league right now. So if you have an issue with like the amount of player contracts, like that's a different conversation than Watt. And Watt shouldn't be punished because you don't think it's fair that he makes $40 million a year or whatever, right? Like he's going to, if you were at work tomorrow and your boss was like, oh, we're going to pay Joe $10 less an hour than everybody else that works his same job in this company because we just decided arbitrarily we shouldn't do that or that's too much, you'd be like, no way, get the fuck out, like, get out of here. I'm not doing that, right? Like, why would Watt put up with that? Why would Watt put up with getting paid less than everybody else when he's somebody who consistently ranks at the top for his position?
Yeah. Because they, like you said, Dave, did not adequately prepare for Ben Roethlisberger's, leaving or retirement. We've basically had crappy quarterback play for like the last 3 or 4 years, and yet we keep winning or keep, above 500. Why is that? Because of defense. And why is that? Because of defense? Because of TJ Watt. TJ Watt, I wish I had enough time. I was going to go through every game last year and see how many games did TJ Watt, like a TJ Watt forced fumble or a sack or something like that, basically turn the tide in the game. And, that's how the Steelers have won. They've won by one score like a billion times because, and TJ Watt is a big factor in that. So yeah, don't tell me he's not important or he fades or something like that. Yeah, that's another issue. And I think the whole team fades. And I think that's on Tomlin, but he's still valuable. Yeah.
Well, and honestly, one thing about the team fading, I think part of it last year was the schedule, because you can't say, well, they played the Ravens twice and then the Chiefs and the Eagles. yeah, you're, best of circumstances, you're coming out of that. Not even, I wouldn't say 50-50. You're going to be losing more than you win just then. And then you got, things happen at the end of the year. People get injured. Rookies run out of steam.
Yeah.
And given the fact that we had a rookie center last year who did
guard.
good, I mean, he did not play like a rookie center.
Yeah.
You figure, yeah, okay. And I think there are people, and I don't know if they're younger, as in their 40s maybe, or they never experienced really down Steeler football. They remember, exactly. They remember the 90s, maybe the end of beginning of Cowher. They've had Cowher and they had Tomlin, and that's all they've had that they can remember.
Well, their childhood was Super Bowl after Super Bowl for a little while there.
Yeah.
With Stanley Cups thrown in.
Yeah, that you didn't deal with Cliff Stout, David Woodley, Mark Malone. Malone. But he wasn't that bad. He wasn't horrible. I don't think he was adequate. Mark Malone was adequate. Mark Malone's biggest problem was he took over after Bradshaw, and they didn't draft Dan Marino because they had Mark Malone. They thought we have our quarterback. We don't.
Also, he sucked. I think that was another problem.
Wait a minute. Remember though, in '84, they made it to the AFC Championship game and lost to the Dolphins and Dan Marino. But they made it to a championship game. They didn't. It wasn't like the Pirates' decade. Oh, suck. It was. Especially after 84, like the last of the Super 70 Steelers retired, then it was like, yeah, we may get lucky on this game, but generally we're below average. When Bubby Brister is your highlight quarterback. But a lot of people haven't experienced that.
I love Bubby. We need to celebrate Bubby Brister. That guy was awesome.
But I'm saying,
but he was the highlight of the decade. That was bad.
He was the highlight.
You got a bad decade.
But Bubby was not a high level quarterback. Okay, as a personality, he was amazing. But he did some like highlight parts there. But I think a lot of people just have not experienced that. Oh, this year we're going to be below average, and next year we're probably going to be below average, and there's no hope of getting better. And at least now I feel that there is a plan. Whether it's going to work or not, I don't know. But I feel there's a plan now.
It's hard to complain about an off season as aggressive as this one has been. Like nobody can say,
true.
And we've had other years where you can say like, man, we were in bad shape last year. We didn't win a playoff game last year or whatever. And we went through this off season, and what did we even do? Like some okay draft picks, and sometimes not even that. So I think that this year, like, you never know how it's going to shake out, right? You can't grade it until it's over with. But if you're looking at it on the front end, you certainly can say, well, like you said, that they tried. Nobody can say they didn't go out, like, look at the problems we had last year and say, how can we change that for 2025?
In most teams, the DK, if most teams traded for DK Metcalf, that would be like the biggest thing they did that offseason. And for the Steelers, that was like the fourth or fifth biggest thing they did.
But for us, normally that would have been like, I mean, when that happened, people's minds were like blown. They were like, we don't do stuff like this. Now you're just like, oh, that was, like you said, like, the ranking of crazy things we did this season, that wasn't the craziest.
Yeah. They were aggressive. What a crazy offseason that really did not have a lull. And when in the dead period, they trade Minkah Fitzpatrick for Jalen Ramsey and Jonnu Smith. That was when things were supposed to be dead. It's been a crazy offseason. And that's the thing, though, is people keep saying, well, the Steelers are all in. They're all in. No, they're not. They just did a whole bunch of things for the short term without sacrificing the future.
Yeah.
They have a ton of picks. There is a plan. The plan is we're going to get our Messiah in 2026. But in the meantime, we're going to try to build a good team, and in the short term, get some dudes and see if Aaron Rodgers still has something left in the tank, and let's see if we can win this year.
A playoff game, and so I think that that's what this is. I think that they felt like, all right, we've got this. What can we do to get us to this place where we win a playoff game? And who puts us in the best? What quarterback is out there that's reasonable that puts us with the opportunity to do that? And it's Aaron Rodgers. And whether you like him or you don't like him, do you know what I mean? Out of a bunch of mediocre choices, he was, probably the best one. We already saw what we could do with Russell Wilson and Justin Fields. Why would you invest a whole bunch of money in Justin Fields when, like Joe said, you're going to go into 2026 and look for a rookie? I mean, I think, I think it makes a lot of sense. So maybe they're not all in on a Super Bowl, but I think the Steelers go into every season thinking we could win a Super Bowl this year. And with what we have, how do we get there? And so I think that's always their mindset.
This whole thing about they got to win a playoff game, it's almost like an obsession. I think they are so sick and tired of just making the playoffs and then not only losing in the first round, but getting blown out every single time. I think they're like, I don't care. We're going to win a damn playoff game. I don't care what happens. I think that's their like, it's like win a playoff game or bust.
You have to almost. I mean, because come on, with the fan base, I mean, you got people, he who shall not be named, Pittsburgh Voldemort, talking about how TJ doesn't deserve to get paid because his playoff record. Like, how are those two things linked together? Do you know how many outstanding?
I'm pretty sure there's other people on the field. That wasn't just TJ Watt's fault.
He's not doing this on his own. Like, is he supposed to throw the ball, run down, catch it, and tackle himself? And I mean, come on.
This isn't tennis.
Right.
It's not an individual sport, people.
Like swimming, any of those sports. Like, come on. He's not doing this on his own. You can't hold him responsible for the fact that we haven't won a playoff game. In fact, if you ask me, I would say he was the least of our issues in that bad stretch last year.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, the league did the Steelers dirty with the schedule, but losing Pickens basically killed them. And that's Omar Khan's fault.
And bringing in Cam Sutton, that was a huge mistake.
Yeah, that kind of.
I think that
kind of broke the team.
Like toxic on the defense.
Yeah. Yeah, I know they like to bring in people they're familiar with, but there are times you're like, okay, we're familiar with them, but maybe Beanie Bishop was not doing hideous. Mm-mm. He was good last year. He wasn't.
Ask Aaron Rodgers.
Exactly.
Right.
But Beanie was not. He was at least adequate, if not a little bit better, especially for an undrafted rookie. Go Mountaineers!
Threw everything off, like everything, the communication, like all that stuff went downhill when he came in. Maybe it's a coincidence.
In theory, that was a good idea to bring him. In execution, it was a disaster.
Yeah,
and you know what? It happens. My theory is when you lose time to something that's not an injury, things go bad. Look at Le'Veon Bell. He lost the whole year, and then when he came back, he was crap. It seems like because I think you have to be at a certain level of preparation, like your whole life, and then when that gets broken, then things go wrong. So I don't know. All right, moving on to more important news. A new uniform was revealed.
Hey.
A throwback to supposedly 1933. It was similar to the that they released in 1994, but it's different. And I would say reaction is mixed. LeeAnn, I know you love it. Why Why do you? Well, let's start with you, LeeAnn. What do you? Why do you like it?
I like it because, like, here's my thing about it, and this is, I know, like, the majority of fans, the thing they really didn't like was the tan pants, but I felt like the whole point of this jersey was a throwback, right? It wasn't an alternate jersey, it wasn't an alternate uniform, it was a throwback. It was supposed to be a throwback to 33, and in 1933, in the 30s and 40s, a lot of teams wore tan pants. So I think it, like, if you're trying to do things authentically, like, they would have never, like the black pants that people kept mocking with it wouldn't have happened, right? So I thought if you're trying to make it somewhat authentic, I thought it was fun. I like that the Steelers go out on a limb with that kind of stuff. I like the Bumblebee uniforms too. I just think it's fun to do something different. We're a team that's like so traditional in our traditions. Our uniform always looks the same. You see all these other teams like change their colors and change their logos and do all these things. The Steelers never do that stuff, and I love that about them. So to me, like, this was a little bit of a step out on a limb. It kind of reminded me of the Batman, with the Batman movie, the Dark Knight uniforms that they were wearing on the field that day with Hines Ward and Ben. I just think it's fun. I think they're fun and different. I don't know. I think it's something different, and I like it.
Well, and I'll say this now, in honor of the new uniforms. Oh, I don't know if it'll come up. I got tan shorts on.
You're wearing tan pants.
I'm wearing tan pants. I'm wearing tan pants.
I was going to wear khakis also.
But, the tan pants, I don't mind the tan pants. I know, like you said, a lot of people, I don't mind that. It's what I don't like, and this is purely aesthetic, and this is, I know you want to replicate what it originally looked like, the lines stopping where they do. Yeah, they look like they stop around the belly button. If
that's
the lines went
in a really bad place.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't. I you know what? If you look at the throwback, the shoulders were a little different for the '94 throwbacks.
Yeah,
so they had like a shoulder line. Now they lost. If they would have had the lines go all the way down, and maybe had something around the bottom to like frame it, make it close. And we talked about, I think we talked about this beforehand. The 94 throwbacks had the large city shield and the small numbers, but now they require large numbers in front. So that, honestly, I think that messes up the look too, having those large numbers covering those stripes. If they could have done maybe one stripe or, worked with the stripes differently somehow. I don't know how exactly, but something a little different.
Here's what drives me crazy. And this is just one of those like OCD things. The number on the front is white. The number on the back is black. Yeah. It's called a uniform, people. Let's make it uniform.
And the back, and the fact the back is a plain yellow. Yeah. It's not gold. It's yellow. Okay. With the black lettering, and the front has the black stripes. I wonder if the stripes were also somehow on the back, so it would look symmetrical. That would make a difference, because it literally looks like, okay, this is the front half, this is the back half. We have two people different design it, and now we're going to smush them together without figuring out, without the person who designed the front talking to the person who designed the back.
Right. It's like there was a front of the uniform team and the back of the uniform team, and then they never talked to each other.
Mm-hmm. Now, I do like the gold helmet. I like the gold helmet.
Oh, yeah.
Those are pretty.
Bring those, keep those for more games. I like the gold. I like the yellow helmet. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what the regulations, because the NFL is so peculiar to keep it clean about uniforms and what's allowed and what isn't allowed and what you can do and what you can't do, that I don't know if you're allowed to have, this is our home helmet, this is our away helmet, but that would be
cool. Rules, and they did relax those rules so that you could have something like a yellow helmet,
right?
Only for alternative.
Yeah. So I don't know how that all works.
We won't get the 1979 Pittsburgh Pirates, where there are 20 different uniform combinations they could come out with, whether home or away. We're not going to have that option with the Steelers.
No.
Oh man, yeah, those 70s. Ooh, those are gorgeous.
Yeah.
Love that. Love that We Are Family thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, LeeAnn, you nailed it. It's not an alternate jersey. It's a throwback. Now, one thing, a couple things they could have done. There was the one where it was like a triangle from, I forget what year it was, like the 60s or something like that.
69.
Kinda,
69. Yeah.
There was that, but then from the 70s, have you seen those all whites ones?
Yeah.
Ooh, baby, give me an all white, like an alternate color rush thing. Ooh,
I like the all white.
Could you imagine like all white and then like tell like the stadium, let's do a whiteout or something like
Penn
that,
State, like do a Penn State whiteout, like which I think is the coolest thing in football to see is when Penn State does the whiteout. Something like that would be awesome. Yeah.
So we'll see. Let's
call it what it really is. It's a money grab.
Of course. Everything's
Darren. Hi, Darren.
Darren, not a fan of tan.
If they made the pants black, I think we would love it a lot more. But it's a throwback, so I guess that's what it was in the 30s, and then that's what we do. What is that? Yeah, black. Okay. Bring back the block letters, the block numbers.
Yeah.
It's time. Darren, you could come on right now if you want. Come on down, man. We'll see. And they're apparently they're going to have these throwbacks on a Sunday Night Football against the Packers. I don't know. I don't know if the Packers are going to do their own thing. I don't know.
I want to say no. I think they just wear the normal, but the Packers did have throwbacks when Aaron Rodgers played with them, and they were tan pants also.
They were tan pants. Yep.
I hate the Packers throwbacks. Yeah. Now, I own the team. I should say something to them. I hate that because they're like blue and yellow or something like that. Like when you think Green Bay Packers, you think it's an iconic look, and then they have this whole other thing. Like that's dumb, but okay. Yeah, we'll see. And I also have a problem with the color yellow, with the shade of yellow that they chose. But
okay,
it's more yellow than Steelers gold.
Right. I mean, you can see behind me. I have a terrible towel that I own that I took a picture of. That's gold.
That's Steelers gold. Yeah,
that's Steelers gold. Okay.
Yeah. Why do you go dollar store yellow? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's a weird choice. Maybe that's what they did in the 30s. I don't know. Now, in week 3 they play New England. And New England is bringing back their throwbacks, which is one of my favorite jerseys ever. The old ones from the 80s, the red with the white with the. Oh my goodness!
Yeah,
I love it.
Just to make sure, they are bringing back the snapping Patriot on the helmet, right?
Pat Patriot, I think his
Pat
name
Patriot.
is.
Yeah. I mean, admittedly, it isn't as streamlined as the current one. And admittedly, if you're a Patriots fan, you don't have fond memories of those teams.
No.
Okay, you have.
Hey, remember that time I got blown up by the Bears in the Super Bowl? Yay! Let's remember
when
that.
We gave up William. Remember when the Fridge scored a touchdown against us in the Super Bowl? But they didn't give it.
When it was such a blowout, I was like, "Let's give it to the fat guy. Let's let the fat guy have a touchdown."
But they didn't give it. But they did make sure. Well, but they didn't make sure Walter Payton had a touchdown in the Super Bowl. But they made sure the Fridge did.
Yeah, I saw some fans saying that about the Steelers, though, that nobody should want to go back and remember the Steelers' early days in the 30s and 40s. And well, look, I definitely don't disagree with that. But then I guess that's the case for a lot of teams, right? But the whole point is like the storied franchise, the proud history, the longevity, right, is what you're honoring, not their outstanding game
right
during that era where they never won.
Now I want to look this up. My memories of the 94 throwbacks, which are very similar to the ones that just that just came out, are that the Steelers, I think they only played one game in them and they lost. Maybe they played more games, but I remember they did not have good luck when those throwbacks. But when they had the Bumblebees, I think they played very well in the Bumblebees. And I think there's a good reason for that. I think other teams looked at these Bumblebees, and there's no way you could keep a straight face going against somebody in this freaking uniform. How do you line up against this and not just bust out laughing? That's probably why the Steelers won all those games as Bumblebees. I mean, look at this is ridiculous.
The big guys in the Bumblebee uniforms, like the offensive linemen, because I mean, anybody knows that like horizontal stripes are not the big guy's best look, but like, let's put 350-pound men in horizontal stripes up there.
That's just cruel. That's just cruel. At least these new throwbacks are vertical stripes, so a little bit more thinning. Yeah. But yeah, put fat people in horizontal stripes is just cruel. That's just not fair. All right, so now the off-season shenanigans are over. Crazy offseason that was. Now we're on to almost real football. Training camp starts Thursday. What are we? I've identified 5 things that we should really be focusing on this training camp. What do you think one of them is?
5 things we should be focusing on, or 5 things they will be focusing on?
Either. Well, number one is easy, right?
Aaron Rodgers.
What's the number one thing we're all going to be looking for?
Yeah, we're all going to see Aaron Rodgers and everything.
Exactly.
And it's like, oh, he's not playing today. Oh, he's practicing today. Oh, he's doing this. He's talking to him on the sideline. He's talking to Will Howard. He's talking to Will Howard 3 minutes longer today than he did yesterday. What does that mean?
Well, there's definitely going to be the Will Howard looks so good. He should be our starting quarterback. Like, that's coming. He'll throw the ball 3 times with no pressure, no defense, and no pads, and it'll be that he should be our starting quarterback. That's definitely coming.
Listen, I'm no one to judge anybody for any reason. However, if you're keeping training camp stats, there was somebody that was keeping mini camp stats. Just you know what? Just don't. You need a hobby. You need take up crochet, take up something.
Touch grass, as they say. Go out and touch. Go out to training camp. Go out to training camp. Make sure you're hydrated, because it's going to be stinking hot. But make sure you're hydrated. Get your sunscreen on and touch grass out in Latrobe.
If you go to Latrobe, you're going to be touching lots of grass, because usually the bleachers are filled. So you got to go sit on the lawn and bring a blanket, because you'll be eaten alive by whatever the heck bugs there are up there, and whatever the heck they are. You better bring a blanket. But yeah. You could touch plenty of grass there, but don't keep stats. And come on, people. Yeah, we're all going to be focusing on Aaron Rodgers and every little thing he does. And it's funny because Aaron Rodgers is like the sun. He is like brighter than anything in the galaxy. And we're going to be focusing on everything Aaron Rodgers does. Like, some player can like run around naked or something like that, and we're not even going to notice, because we're all going to be looking at Aaron Rodgers. Mm-hmm. He's going to suck all the attention. And
I kind of wonder, will this help some people though? Because who's talking about the first round draft pick?
Right.
No, we didn't have a second round, but who's talking about any of the draft picks this year? Our starting running back will probably be the guy we took in the draft.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, our number 1 draft pick will be probably a starter on the defensive line. You know, we're going to have multiple starters from this draft class. No one's going to be talking about them.
Nobody cares.
You know,
yeah.
I would say the other thing people outside of Aaron Rodgers they're going to talk about how much TJ Watt is practicing and what he's doing.
Right.
And in my mind, for both TJ and Cam, you know, minimal.
Yeah.
Let him do minimals, especially Cam, the quote unquote old man of the defense. Let him make sure he rests up. You know, when you get to a certain age and you play football, I never played football, but once you do athletic stuff long enough, the little niggling injuries add up where, you know, you may have stepped on something wrong. And if you're 25, no big deal. If you're 35, that makes a big difference. Take it easy on the old guys. Take it easy on the veterans because we know what they do already.
But
people are going to be talking about that too.
My theory is that Tomlin works the players too hard in training camp. They pride themselves on we have the toughest training camp. We're the hardest hitting, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, you're beating the crap out of each other in July. And meanwhile, come December and January, you're gassed and you suck and you lose at the end of the regular season and then you limp into the playoffs and get killed. So maybe take it easy.
It's
Another thing is
because Merrill Hodge says the exact opposite. He says that they're too soft on players now, and that's the reason why we have so many soft tissue injuries that didn't used to exist back in like the 70s, 80s, and even into the 90s, where they had more contact practices in camp, more contact practices to start the season, and the guys' bodies get used to getting hit. And if you don't go through that process of being used to getting hit, then you don't acclimate and you get hurt.
But back in Merrill Hodge's day, like every other day, some player would just die. It was just like, right. what happened to him? Oh, he's dead. Okay, just pick him up and move him, put him to the side. Let's keep working.
Also, I mean, people back in the day, the off season was the off season. You know, literally, right. It was
you sold insurance, or you're a car salesman or something. Yeah. You weren't working out.
Or if you worked out, you did work out at home or you went to a local gym and you worked out, but you didn't have the high level training they have now all year round. You know, literally it was, you have to go to training camp to lose 15, 20 pounds that you gained over summer to get in shape.
Get in shape.
Right. And now they come to training camp in shape. I mean, literally these guys do not, it almost sounds like I'm equating to professional wrestling. You have people who were professional wrestlers back in the 70s and 80s when they wrestled 200 plus days a year. And you literally saw the family 3 days a month. And you're like, oh, no one got injured back then because your body got used to bumping and it got used to it. And you build up the body calluses. Partially it was also the fact you guys were coked out of your minds and or you were drunk or coked or you were on some kind of drugs heavy. And same thing a lot of times with where you didn't care. And then I hate to say it, Merrill Hodge for a while there had trouble finishing sentences.
And he denies the CTE exists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all relative compared to the 70s and 80s. Training camp is a lot softer. Yeah. However, relatively, the Steelers have a harder training camp these days than other teams. For example, Cincinnati Bengals. I'm pretty sure what they do in their training camp is they just have lawn chairs and they work on their tan and they just lay there and stuff. And then when the regular season starts, they go 0-4 because they didn't really do anything. So
I was going to say, how's that working out for them?
Exactly. Every year, I guarantee you want to make money, bet against the Bengals like the first couple weeks of the season because they're never prepared. Also,
I think the Dolphins too are another ones that do like no contact at all or whatever in camp and struggle more than most teams.
But I mean, there is, and I'm saying these are professionals. high-paid professionals who have high-paid professionals trainers. These aren't the players are not doing this on their own. The coaches hopefully are not doing it on their own and what they feel. They have medical staff that looks at, okay, these people work out this, and here's the injury for this, and therefore we're going to look at this, because you need that happy medium. You need the practice, you need the contact, you need that initial where you're used to it. But if you do it too much, you're going to get injured. You need that happy medium, and these are professionals.
But the training they do, the training they do does not involve physical contact. The training they do is, lifting and running and stuff like that. But like you said, the pro wrestling reference, you got to get your bumps in. You got to get that physical contact. You got to hit. And yes, it is limited now, but still, it seems like the Steelers do more than other teams now.
Yeah.
They do.
Yeah. I just remember the last time TJ Watt had that contract thing, in the entire training camp, he held in. So he didn't really do anything. He was just on the sideline, working out or whatever. What happens in the regular season? He has like one of the best year of his career. So
the best year of anyone. That's when he tied for the sack record.
Yeah. So
I think those veteran guys, though, hold back. Do you know what I mean? I think in camp or the big hits and stuff, you see a lot more of the younger guys getting those hits in against the younger guys. Do you know what I mean? Maybe it's to get a sense of the NFL. I mean, I feel like the past couple of years we saw a lot of Joey Porter and some of those younger guys out there, Trice and those guys out there.
Good point, Aaron. Yeah, Roman Wilson was lost for a season during a non-contact drill. And remember,
Wilson got out of his car and ripped his leg apart or whatever. So,
and then there's the Russell Wilson hitting a tackling sled and being lost for almost half a season. So, which was
Roman Wilson was my next guest for like topics that we'll be following in training camp. So that was a good segue from Darren. I definitely feel like a lot of eyes will be on Roman Wilson and whether he's wide receiver 2, is he the real deal? Did we totally screw up by not getting somebody else or letting Pickens go?
I don't think we messed up by letting Pickens go, to be honest. I don't think we're going in terms of, yes, he talent-wise, yes, I think, going down to Dallas, he is going to cause so much havoc down there that he will not have this kind of season he had with the Steelers. Not even close. And
we'll see.
I know, but also, if he would have proven himself to be mature or maturing, they may have kept him. But he really wasn't.
Here's my theory on that. There is a report that said Aaron Rodgers wanted Pickens gone, and that's why he's gone. It's like, no, I don't think that's what happened. I think the Steelers saw this, like, okay, we're getting Aaron Rodgers. We know what Pickens is like, that the dude just does whatever the hell he wants. And we know that Aaron Rodgers is going to say, hell no, I'm not dealing with that crap. So they got rid of him for that reason. It wasn't because Aaron Rodgers wanted him gone. It's because they saw that it would have been a disaster. Also, all the crap that he pulled for the past 2 or 3 years of his career, and showing up late to games had to be the final, or one of the final straws.
Not just the crap he pulled, but escalating crap, right? Like we 2 years ago, we all blamed Deontay Johnson, and it's his fault. He's a bad influence, and he's going to leave, and then Pickens is going to be fine, and then Pickens is even worse, which makes you wonder, maybe Deontay really wasn't like the major problem after all. I agree. Like, he showed no effort towards maturing and showing that he can handle these things. I mean, he did wacky stuff last year, and nothing was being said in the media, by the coaches, by his teammates. None of that was having an impact on him. To me, if you don't get rid of a player like that, like that's cancerous in your organization. You tried, you made more of an effort than most people would have made. And you can't you can't save somebody who doesn't want to save themselves. And so it's time to me, it was just time to cut ties. Would it have been great to see him on the field with Aaron Rodgers and DK Metcalf? Sure, like in theory, but not watching him fist fight Greg Newsome and attack fans in the stands and, inappropriate eye black and just the constant distractions, because all the fans that are saying like, oh, well, that would have been so great are the same ones that were complaining last year about all of his behaviors and would have been like, why did we keep him when he was doing that same stuff again? Oh, Tomlin can't control his players.
People were comparing Pickens to Antonio Brown. Antonio Brown did all his crazy stuff off the field. On the field, Antonio Brown was elite. Pickens did most of his crap on the field, with like, hey, we have a Hail Mary. Oh, I'm not going to try to catch this ball. I'm going to go fight some dude and go into the stands, or I'm not going to try on this play, or I'm not going to do this crap. Yeah. Like a lot of crap he did, it was on the field.
The one thing you can always say about Antonio Brown is that he wanted to be the best, and he did like everything in his power to like be the best wide receiver in the league. He was not going to sacrifice,
worked hard.
Where he could get the ball or attempts to get the ball. He was not going to do anything that would jeopardize people throwing him the ball. The worst thing he did on the field was demand to get the ball more.
Yeah.
And that's everything.
The five catches, 50 yards streak, whatever the crap was.
The made up streak. But like you said, it's like the touchdown against the Ravens he had at the end of regulation, where Antonio Brown got the ball on like the half-yard line. There were 3 Ravens there, and he stuck his arm out while he's getting mauled by defensive players. And it's like, if he doesn't, they're going to lose if he. It's like he's doing the extra.
He literally willed the team to victory with him.
Yeah. And I hate to say it, the hit by Vontex Perfect in that playoff game against Cincinnati. You kind of wonder, was that, and I don't want to say CTE, I'm just saying, as bad as he got hit, I mean, he was knocked beyond for a loop, and
it's a shame.
It was like after that happened is when he really got worse.
That guy should be in the Hall of Fame.
He should be in the Hall of Fame. He should be honestly, I mean, we can say, not as part of a team, but as an individual wide receiver, in terms of pure talent, he's definitely top
greatest
4.
Steeler.
Easy. Yeah. Could be the greatest Steeler.
He could have been the greatest Steelers wide receiver in history, bar none, without a doubt.
Yeah, now you could say he's definitely top 4.
Yeah, I think sometimes you're a little bit wacky and then something happens. Do you know what I mean? So whether it's that hit from Perfect, whether it's fame and fortune, I don't know. Do you know what I mean? Maybe it's a combination of all of it. He definitely was already a little bit wacky. Like I remember when he was like his second year, he didn't own a couch because he just rode a bike while he watched TV in his living room. Like that's not stuff that like most people do. Like, you applaud the dedication, right? But like, come on now, everybody's got to take a break sometime. Like that's not normal, so there was wacky stuff, but we loved it because it benefited the team, right?
Yeah. It didn't distract from the team. It didn't distract from the team. It didn't cause issues.
Exactly. But then it starts to, and then you see him go totally off the rails when he leaves Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
My prediction on Pickens is he will at least start out or have like a game or two where he's awesome and we're like, oh my God, we regret getting rid of him. And then he's going to do his regular crap and probably get kicked off the team or suspended or something like that, because no other team is going to put up with that crap.
Well, Jerry Jones will talk crap about him in the media like,
oh my God,
no other. Look, so like Mike Tomlin won't say anything. Jerry Jones will put it all out there.
Look what Jerry Jones is saying about his own players, about Micah Parsons and Dak. It's like, well, I don't want to pay him because they get hurt. Like, those are your own people, dude.
Right.
Yeah.
Those are your star players on your team. It's like, people criticize the Steelers. Like, God, at least we don't have Jerry Jones as a freaking owner or that idiot in Cincinnati. My God. But the questions, I mean, the big questions about the wide receivers is, who's going to be wide receiver 2? How much is Calvin Austin going to play? How much is Roman Wilson going to play? And is the wide receiver 2 on this team right now? Are they going to go get somebody? I think they are.
Or are we considering a tight end wide receiver 2?
Yeah.
Are we going to run? Are we going to run two tight end sets or three, and have one guy? Just okay. You're basically, even though you're tight end, you're basically extra offensive line, and we're having two tight ends as wide receivers, and then we're having DK out there and a running back.
All I want to see is you have a gigantic human as a tight end. Just throw the ball to the gigantic human. You have Godzilla on your team. Use him. Take a few steps. Turn around. Put your hands up. Nobody can stop you.
He doesn't even have to
how have we not figured this out?
Right. He doesn't even have to leave the ground.
Well, I would say last year, we know what the problem was last year. A tight end normally is in the center of the field, and we did not throw to the center of the field. So this year, I think there's hope.
He was too short to see the center of the field, so that's why you don't throw to the center.
True. But now because you don't really want the tight end in the corner. He doesn't have the speed to get but in the middle of the field, that would be perfect. Yes. Oh, it's 3rd and 5. Okay, these guys, you got Washington go, boom. You go 6 yards, turn around, catch the ball.
Boom. That's it.
And it doesn't even matter if you get any more yardage. Just get beyond the sticks, turn around, catch the ball. You're going to have a linebacker who's smaller than you trying to stop you. Probably unsuccessfully. So.
Yeah.
But no, I could they pick up someone? I think so.
That's a good question, Darren.
Yeah.
Is Connor Hayward going to make the team? I think at this point, Connor Hayward is just a special teams guy, and hopefully he's good at that. Hopefully he's not just on the team because he's somebody's brother. I don't know. I don't know if this is Derek Watt 2.0. I don't know, but I don't think he's. I think that's it. That's basically what he's relegated to in the NFL is because he's just so small. He's not big enough and he's not quick enough. I think Connor Hayward is just a special teams guy, and there's nothing wrong with that. You could be a special teams specialist, but yeah, I don't think. What's that?
Yeah,
I said, look at someone like Killebrew who's made a whole career out of just excelling at special teams.
There you go.
Yeah,
there you go. You could be a good special teams guy. Yeah, yeah. We already touched on this, but yeah. How is this running back room going to work? Is it going to be Jaylen Warren? Is it going to be 50-50? Is it, because all we hear about is Caleb Johnson is like, oh my God, he's so good. Oh my God, he's like, the sky is the limit as far as potential for this guy. How do you think it's going to work out, at least initially?
Honestly, just the way that admittedly Tomlin's gotten better with playing rookies, but he still doesn't like to play that much. So, yeah, I mean, I could see him being held back early on and then, or maybe, being held back a little bit. And if he shows that he has this great vision that they talk about, similar to Lev Bell, where he can see the field, he can pick the holes. It isn't just, it works better. And he fits the blocking scheme better. Then they may hopefully say, okay, you're doing good. We're going to give you more carries. I mean, all we know is that we will not see any sweeps for Najee or any tosses to Najee to go wide.
The only thing Najee is tossing is fireworks into his eye.
Poor Najee. Yeah, I think they're going to start out, with the bulk of the workload going to Jaylen Warren. I agree with that. I think they're slow to start the rookies, but I think it's going to transition because I don't think Warren is as great as everybody thinks he is, and exactly. I think that Johnson's going to take over, and hopefully we don't hear Cordarrelle Patterson's name at all.
Oh my goodness, he's technically still on the team for some reason. Is he like a cousin of Arthur Smith or something like that? Is this
every day? He must have incriminating photos of Arthur Smith doing something.
Maybe.
Why is he still on the team? I check all the time, once a week, so I can rejoice when he's finally. Look, he was fantastic with what he did when he did it. Time has passed him by.
Yeah.
he's old. Yeah, he's what, 33, 34, something like that. That is ancient for a running back.
Yeah.
The main thing that a rookie running back has to prove is, do you know your pass protection? Because the one time, all you need to do is mess up one time and get the quarterback killed, and that's it. You're riding the bench, buddy. So all this talk about Caleb Johnson, oh my God, he's going to be so good. Yeah, he has the potential to be so good. Also, he has the potential to make a rookie mistake and get sidelined. So
it's a really good point, because there's a big leap from college to the NFL, right? So no matter how good you were in college, like this is a big step forward, a big change. And so I agree. I don't think, all these guys that want him thrust in week one, in majority of the snaps, I think that would be setting him up for failure.
Yep.
Yeah.
Darren alluded to this.
Oh,
sorry, go ahead.
One of the big differences is that you get guys in college who are used to allowing their athleticism to make up for technique, because you're not playing high level competition every week. You may have an opener against a rival, and then you play our orphans of the poor.
Right.
And then it's just a matter of, yes, you're bigger, you're stronger, you're faster, you can just outdo until outside of those. And let's admit it, for college, they're normally, if you're a high level college, you can say, okay, here's the 3 games this year we may lose. We should blow everyone else out, but these are the 3 games where there's competition with people across the board who are equal to us. If you're a top 10 team in the NFL, you got that every week.
Yeah.
Even if you're facing a bad team, Cleveland, they still have players on there. Like, you still got Myles Garrett on defense, who is, great.
They're still professional football players.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
They're still the best that are out there, even if they're not coming together or being coached very well.
Every year they do the thing of like there's some NFL team that hasn't won a game yet. They're like 0-10 or something like that. People say, can this team play against Alabama or whoever, the Ohio State or whatever? They would destroy any college team.
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. The worst NFL team is still better than anything any college can put out.
Yes.
But one thing that makes me very optimistic about Caleb Johnson is he played for Iowa, and Iowa had the worst passing offense ever. I don't even think they attempted a pass. Mm-mm. It was really bad. So their opponent knew that they were going to run every single time. And even then he still did well. Yeah. So that gives me reason for optimism. I have a feeling that the Steelers got quite a steal in Caleb Johnson. And so that's something to be excited about. But Darren alluded to this. Caleb Johnson might have a great year if the offensive line is okay. This all depends on the offensive line, and I say this every single time I do a podcast. It all depends on Broderick Jones. Yeah. If Broderick Jones is good, this offensive line is good. If he sucks, we're in trouble. And another thing is there is very little depth on that line. So if anybody gets hurt, we're kind of screwed.
I would say that's where I could see them picking someone up, like a veteran, not someone literally. You don't want this person starting, but if they have to come in or if they have to start, it won't be. They will not be great. They may barely be good, but at least they will be functional. It won't be complete disaster. So, but yeah, right now, they, like you said, and there's so many ifs, if the line plays the way that everyone thinks they should, if everyone returns from injury, and if, it's like, well, his arm was injured last year, that's why he didn't do good and he was out of position. Great. Hopefully the arm's fixed. Hopefully him being back in position. These are if. These are big ifs. If it works out, honestly, if it works out, this team could be a really good team. Solid off. The defense is going to be really good. Okay, outside of weird stuff happening. We all think the defense is going to be good. If the offensive line can be decent, we're not talking great, good, solid, where Aaron Rodgers isn't flat on his back. And then all of a sudden we got Mason Rudolph in there also flat on his back. And, if they're decent, this team, it's definitely, I would say, playoff. It's not weird. We're not weird saying playoff, not winning the division because Baltimore is so damn good, but definitely playoff, not squeaking in. But there's a lot of ifs. It's like, oh, he didn't progress year 2 like everyone thought he would do. Oh, we're in bad shape there.
We're screwed.
We're thin. We're thin. But I think that's a lot of NFL teams these days. You're thin a lot of places that are crucial. Offensive line, we're thin. We're not. We have depth on the defense. We have a little bit more outside of TJ Watt. We have a little bit more interchangeable parts, but the offensive line starters have a possibility of being good, steady. There's no backup in. You can't say, well, if this guy isn't good, our backup can at least be. I don't feel confident anywhere on the offensive line where you could say, well, the backup will be a drop off, but it won't be a disaster. It'll be, if it isn't a disaster, it'll be a shock.
I'm trying to be optimistic, but from what I hear, it's. But it's one of those things. It's like, hey, buddy, Dave, you alluded to, when you're in college, you have your natural ability and you can just get by on that. You can't do that in the NFL. And Broderick Jones has to learn. It's like, hey, buddy, if you want to stick around in this league, you want to make millions of dollars, you better shape up. And,
I think people forget Broderick Jones didn't play a lot of college football. Like, he played for Georgia, and he's even talked about it. Like, the guys he played with, like, cream of the crop, like the best that are out there, right? He played alongside them. So if he wasn't great on his snap, it's okay because you've got all these other really great guys. And like you said, you may be going up against like Southern Kentucky, Eastern University or whatever, right? Yeah. And so it maybe doesn't show up as much if he's not at 100%. I think it was Darnell Washington that talked about that a lot, that when you play at a school like that, not you take a playoff, but if you have a bad play, it's not the end of the world. And then you get to the NFL and every snap matters so much. So I think, it's a combination of factors for him. I maintained his first year. I thought the changing sides bit was an excuse, but then, last year it continued to be an issue. So this is a make or break it year for Jones. He's
exactly.
I mean, if he doesn't, you're a bust, right? You're labeled a bust.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You'll be a backup somewhere.
Yeah, and the problem is if he's a bust, we know they're going to draft a quarterback in the first round next year, and they're probably going to have to give up draft capital to move up. So there's not going to be. We're not going to draft in their offensive lineman in the first round next year. We may not have a second round draft pick next year because we may have to trade that away to get up into the top 10. So if these guys don't work out, I don't know what your backup is.
Yeah. I think Sartan is going to be fine. I think he is very good. You know what I mean? So as long as he's healthy.
It's just funny because we talk about Broderick Jones and he didn't play that much and blah blah blah, but everybody says Fautano, he's already awesome. Like, well, he played like a few snaps. Like, well, how do we already know? But like the way people
he played more in college. Like he was better coming out of college than Broderick Jones was coming out of college. You know what I mean? Like I actually thought, I don't know, Broderick Jones, like that was where he was picked. You know what I mean? We needed him. He was probably the best guy there at the time, but Well,
he was based on his size,
right.
and it's like, you can't teach that size. So he's
potential.
He has ideal tackle size. So let's get him. So I get that.
Like you said, a lot of people said he was a project. Do you really want to take a number one pick as a project unless you're like Kansas City now or Philadelphia or like, we could take a project because, if it doesn't work out, we're still Super Bowl contenders.
But
like you said, it was like there wasn't anyone
years.
Else that would match. Yeah.
Right. But, you've got a project. Can his ego handle it while he sucks for 2 years and everybody's like attacking him and he's no good? Like, do you know what I mean? So I don't know that part of Broderick Jones. I'm hoping Mike Tomlin does and feels confident that he's got the chutzpah or whatever to be able to handle this and shrug it off and get better and continue to play.
If it doesn't work, then the Steelers should be banned from drafting players from Georgia, because Pickens and now Broderick Jones. No more from that. No more from that. Well, that's another good point. Sorry, go ahead.
I would say I want to get this before we get to the end of the show, and I don't want to forget this. Congratulations to Max Starks on being announced to be the color analyst in the booth this year. I mean,
big shoes to fill.
Big shoes to fill. I mean,
we need a bigger booth. Max is a big guy.
Yes, Monty.
What is Max Starks? Oh, look at the kitty. What is Max Starks like 6'9" or something like that? He is a massive human being.
Yeah, I met him at training camp one year, and he shook my hand, and like his whole hand wrapped like 4 times. And I'm not little, like his whole hand wrapped around mine like 4 times. I'm like, wow.
He's a massive human being.
Mm-hmm.
Now Max Starks went from the sideline. Now he's up there, so there's an opening for a sideline reporter. Hey, I'm available.
I was going to say, that's for you. Sounds like it's perfect.
Yeah, I'll do it. I would report things like I saw Aaron Rodgers picking his nose or something like that. I mean, I would really report on the important things.
Really want to know.
Exactly.
Like I saw a Dee over there on the other sideline. She has a Browns towel in her pocket, like all the good stuff. Secret Browns fan.
But yeah, Darren makes a good point. I believe there's 9 different starters from last year. There's a lot of new people, and this is a very important training camp because they all got to learn to work together. So very important. One more thing that we got to be looking for is the whole Jalen Ramsey thing, and how's this going to work? Is he going to play the slot? Is he going to be safety? Who's going to be safety? Is the safety on this team? I don't know. From what I hear, either Jalen Ramsey is going to just float anywhere or be slot, but somebody else got to be safety. I don't think the safety is on this team right now because you can't really count on Juan Thornhill.
Well, I know Mike Tomlin said he liked the versatility of these guys like Jonnu Smith, do you know what I mean? Ramsey, he liked that versatility that those guys bring to the table. I think it's going to be a different safety look than Steelers fans are used to this year, and I don't think that that's necessarily a bad thing.
I don't think it's a bad thing either because I think Minka was a major disappointment is a nice way to put it. I think the reason why they got rid of him was because he just wasn't good anymore. And this excuse of, he was protecting the deep field or whatever. It's like, but it's like Jerry Dulac said.
To do like a lot of stuff that Minka, you know what I mean? Took Minka out of position, took Minka out of like the role that he's best served in and put other places to pick up for other people's mistakes. I think it trickled down to Patrick Queen last year too, where you're cleaning up for either other people's miscommunications, Cam Sutton, whatever it is. Do you know what I mean? I think that all of those things factored in to really hurt, the way that we used Minka. And I don't know. I mean, I kind of just felt like maybe it was just time to part ways versus that he's not any good anymore. I don't know. I hope he looks phenomenal with the videos he's put out. So I hope he does well.
I mean, like you said, it's not. And for me, because I never played football, I know people can get beat in the secondary and it looks like it's their fault. But in reality, it's because another person in the secondary didn't cover correctly. And they're like, oh, if I go back, where are you? Why? You weren't supposed to be there. I let him go that way because you got him. Why weren't you? But I hate to say, but and we heard last year, communication. That could be part of it too. Maybe it wasn't, and it could be Mika has it talent-wise. It just wasn't clicking with the other people in the secondary. and there was
maybe.
something else going on. We don't know behind the scenes of all that stuff.
Right.
But
that's why when that, when PFF puts out their things of like rating individual people, it's like, you really don't know. You don't know what the scheme was. You don't know if that person was covering for someone else. So like a lot of that stuff is irrelevant.
Well, the coaches even admitted to some of that. Like Terrell Austin even admitted to some of that. It was the whole let's get back to Minka ball stuff and all that stuff. But then it didn't really happen because Minka can't play Minka ball. And, even heard Cam Hayward say it like at the end of last season where things were falling apart, like just do your job. Like if everybody would just do the job they're assigned, we wouldn't be having these issues. Well, that's bigger than just Minka messing up, right? That's multiple people not doing what they're supposed to be doing.
For what it's worth, Patrick Queen said, by the way, the communication problems was not on Minka, but who knows if that's, but it doesn't matter. Just get rid of Cam Sutton, who I believe I think is still on the team. Yeah, get rid of him.
Is he?
So
I thought it was one more contract.
Yeah. I thought it was only to the
end
of the
he
year.
Just didn't. Okay, so he didn't get released. They just didn't renew his. Okay.
Well, also, I think the other reason maybe they got rid of Mika is his contract's up, and he's going to get in his next contract even more money, and they were like, "We're not ready to give you that kind of money. We're going to have to pay TJ Watt." Therefore, we don't have money for you. And this upcoming year, we're not going to be able to use you. But maybe we can use, we can get a corner who can help out with press coverage a little bit more or a little closer coverage so we don't have to have great safety play.
Yeah.
We will see. We will see. It is going to be a very interesting training camp. And heck, we had lots to talk about in the off season when nothing was going on. Now stuff is actually going to be going on. We're going to be going crazy. So I'm so excited. Football's back and we're almost close to real football. Oh yeah. Yeah. It's happening. All right. LeeAnn, I know what is your podcast, and I know what all do you do? I know you do a ton of stuff.
I am editing and writing for PFSN currently, so Pro Football Sports Network, and with our pal Allison Kohler, which has been good fun, been a lot of fun. And then I'm also doing a separate podcast called the Steel City Huddle with Zach Franciscus, who used to work with me at Steeler Nation.
Cool. Darren, we miss you. I'm so happy to hear from you. Dave, you have a podcast too, don't you?
Yeah. I'm actually on a couple. The main one is iPhoneography Podcast, where we talk about taking photos with your iPhone and the different techniques and everything else. I'm also on the Awesome Cast on the Sorgatron Media Network that talks technology. And I'm a loudmouth in the chat for the Wrestling Mayhem show, also on Sorgatron.
You're a loudmouth in the chat on usually. Usually when you're not on, you're the one commenting.
Well, that's kind of how I got started with the iPhoneography predecessor, Tiny Shutter. Was I was in the chat making comments, and they said, "You know what? Would you like to come on the show? Would you like to come on the show?"
Hey,
Love
that dude, PFT commenter. I mean, literally, he was just commenting on Pro Football Talk, and he made a career out of it. So, yeah. That's sometimes that's all it takes.
Yeah.
All right, guys, thanks so much. Always love
talking
Steelers. Always love talking Steelers with you guys. Allison, you were supposed to be on, so you could have been a part of this. She has like something called a life or something like that.
Yeah, she's a busy girl right now.
Guys, thanks so much. Thanks for taking the time. I'll see you.
See ya.
See ya.
Let's see.